doubles. It's twice as impactful than quitting smoking. It's an 82%. It's on there right there. James, I don't know if you can circle it or something like that. Strength improves health outcomes by 82%. Again, smoking is 41. Conditioning is 80%, twice as impactful as smoking. Functional range of motion is 85%. Now, we can go into, and we will, in calls going down the future, we'll go into more in depth about the whys behind that to empower you guys a little bit more. But just so you guys have an understanding of how impactful this thing is that we are doing. We are looking to increase people's health span, not just their lifespan, but this improves their lifespan. This is massive stuff that we're doing. So these 3 simple tenets, when we combine these, Jameson, when we combine these things, this is what we call complete fitness. This is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to do just any one of these things. Again, so it's not rocket science. Very simple stuff. So the important thing to understand here, though, is as we go down, Jameson, you want to just kind of roll down a little bit, is what this looks like. What if we do other specialized things? And again, this is none of us are doing this in gyms, but as your members come in, they might be, have been marathoners. They might have been power lifters. They might have been yogis. And you having the ability to explain to your members about why what you are doing is so much more impactful than what they were doing is really, really vital. We're not saying what they were doing was wrong. It's way better than being on the couch. We're just going to take them to the next step. And that next step is all of these 3 things together, the complete version of this. So if we go down, we'll just kind of dial down into this a little bit and kind of, we're not saying that this is really that much. A lot of what we do is CrossFit, just to kind of say that out there. It's that CrossFit methodology, constantly varied function movements, high intensity. That's not wrong. What we do, though, is just do it a little bit slightly different. So whether you're a CrossFit gym or not, doesn't matter. You can be a CrossFit gym and do this. You cannot be a CrossFit gym and do this. That's not really what we're talking about. But to kind of paint the picture between what traditional CrossFit is and maybe what we do a little bit differently is, you guys know this, but CrossFit is constantly varied functional movements at high intensity. We are structured, so we are not constantly varied. What we found after working with the elite athletes, Cole is on this call. Cole is one of the most dominant athletes in the world, set a record going to the games 11 years in a row. Cole trains with structure. It's not constantly varied. What we want to do is take the lessons we've learned, training with the very best athletes in the world, and bring those lessons to our members. What's been really cool is I've had the opportunity to work with people like Cole and Katrin and Chandler along the way, but I also continue to coach the 8:30, 9:30 class every day. So I got to see both of these things together. What are they doing? How can I bring this to them? That's what we're doing here, is how can we take those things, what's appropriate for those people? We bring a certain level of structure. As you guys have seen over, if you've been following us for however long, you guys see that structure. We do strength, we do back squats or squats like every week. We do deadlifts like every week. That's not the constant variance thing that we were originally taught. Not to say it's wrong. We just want to bring a little more structure, because what we found is that structure is really beneficial in terms of getting people faster gains. What's the really big impactful movements? Let's create structure to make sure that they're making those gains. They're doing functional movements. Love it. We love functional movements. We want to do functional movements as well, but we will also do some little bit of bodybuilding stuff. We'll do some prehab stuff. What the traditional CrossFit model is compound yet irreducible, meaning do pull-ups. Do not do any form of variation of a pull-up. I mean, they say don't do curls. What they say is do pull-ups, don't do band pull-aparts. We say no, do band pull-aparts. It's not one or the other, it's yes and. Other part of this is they really like high skill gymnastics. As affiliate owners, I think you guys have kind of caught on to this. That's not the best way to run our classes. We don't want our classes, people swinging around on rings. Yes, 6 people in your gym love it. The other 94 can't do it. We want to be programming for the majority, not programming for the best and scaling for the rest. We also say that, hey, walking on your hands over ramps maybe isn't the most functional thing. We say ring muscle ups, where you learn a false grip and then trace your chest and whip your ponytail through. We don't see that movement in real life. So we don't see people walking on their hands. We don't see people getting up and through rings. So we're going to choose things that really have big impact outside the gym as well. They are all about high intensity. We like high intensity a lot, but it's not high intensity all the time. We want to make sure we are working with intentional intensity. So if you guys have been paying attention, there is RPE prescriptions in our training. RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion. This is kind of a really easy way, without knowing anything about exercise science, to get to, are we training lactic threshold, VO2 max, anaerobic capacity, or zone 2? You guys probably heard those words. You don't need to know anything about exercise science. You just need to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard should I be working? And that will put you in those appropriate ranges. We do not want to go balls out every time, everything we got. We want to work out intentionally with right levels of intensity each time. So a little bit of like maybe where we were and where we are. Again, nothing new. This is what we have been doing. We're just giving you guys a little bit more knowledge so you guys are empowered to speak the language to your members. All right, Jameson, rolling along. This is our really simple that I would love for you guys to be bringing to your members. This is, if they want to feel good, look good, play good, perform good, now, today, tomorrow, and forever, this is the prescription. 4 to 5 days a week, train with functional movements through full ranges of motion at intentional levels of intensity. We just talked about what each of those descriptors were. 3 times a week, go heavy. That's programmed into our program. Once a week, go long and slow. We do a Sunday run day. Everyone's kind of free to run their gyms how they want to. But in terms of the complete train prescription, we feel like that is all of these things have the science behind them of why it's really important to hit these different things. What this means is train 5 days a week, maybe 6, so it's 5 or 6 days a week. If you're doing that long and slow on a different day. So somewhere between 4, 5, or 6 days a week, that's what we want your members to be doing. Now, cool part about that is most of our members aren't doing that. The average gym attendance, this is kind of bonkers, guys, but the average CrossFitter goes to the gym less than once a week. Now, it doesn't seem like that, but go and do your reporting. Take your daily attendance divided by your total membership, and you're going to be blown away about how infrequently your members are showing up. We want them to show up more. The more they're here, the more they'll see results. The more they're in the community, the longer they'll stay. Average client lifetime value goes up. You make more money. You spend less on getting new clients because it's cheaper and easier to retain them. People have a better experience. So really simple training prescription. Rolling along, Jameson. Okay, this is the money slide. This is what we're doing, guys. So what we're doing is we have our 3 big tenets: strength, conditioning, and functional range of motion. Each one of those is made up of 3 different components. In terms of the strength, it's made up of absolute strength, ability to move maximal external loads. That's best developed through the slow lifts. You'll get the strongest benefit by squat, dead, bench, press, and weight pull-up. Lower body pull and push, upper body pull and push. We want to be doing that 3 to 4 times a week. That's not the only thing in terms of strength, though. What we also want is explosive power. Think plyometrics, even power cleans fall in that category. We want to be able to move powerfully and fast. This is important not just for today, tomorrow, but even if you become the older athletes, kicking ass in your 90s, super, super important. Not just big, slow, strong men type, but we want to be athletic and quick, explosive. And the third category there is muscular endurance, that your muscles don't conk out. You can go for longer. Kind of paint the picture between the two of those. Absolute strength is best trained above 70%. Really starts to happen when you get above about that 85 is the sweet spot, plus or minus 10%. Muscular endurance happens best below 70%. And really the sweet spot is somewhere around that 45 or 50%, but can be done as light as body weight. Obviously, you doing 200 push-ups for time is muscular endurance. You don't have to be the strongest athlete won't win that. The athlete with the most VO2 max won't win that. It's the athlete with the best muscular endurance. So those three together are what make up strength. Now, when you're talking to your members and they say like, hey, I want to get stronger, you can kind of go like, okay, there's different components to strength, and you're a little bit more empowered to kind of have an educated conversation and be a real coach with those guys. The second tenet is conditioning. Conditioning, likewise, is made up of three categories. The first one, really straightforward, is aerobic endurance. This would be running a 10K all the way up to a mile, or maybe it even involves doing a multi-day trek or hike. But really, it's this longer, slower stuff. You guys have heard the zone 2 training. So this is where zone 2 falls in. This is where we said in the previous prescription, do it at least once a week. If we do this once a week, we're in good shape. The next one is aerobic power to the right. Aerobic power is made up of two subcategories of lactic threshold and VO2 max. Lactic threshold is best trained in that about 20 to 30 minute range. Generally, it's about a 5 or a 6 on a rate of perceived exertion, whereas VO2 max, your body maximal ability to absorb oxygen to working muscles, is best trained in that like 9 to 12 minute range. Also can be done through intervals. 4 on, 4 off times 4, you guys have seen us do that, is the most well-known traditional method of improving and training VO2 max. It's crazy. VO2 max is getting a lot of attention these days, particularly through Peter Attia and the reports he's done. He's referencing, when he talks about VO2 max, he's referencing that same JAMA report, the Journal of American Medicine. The improvements, this is wild, guys. Listen to this. You improving your VO2 max just one notch. It's the equivalent of maybe knocking like 30 seconds off your mile time. That is the same level of improvement as quitting smoking. Both are 41%. I'm going to say it again. You getting somebody a 30-second faster mile time is the equivalent of taking somebody that smokes a pack of cigarettes a day and getting them to quit smoking. That's the same benefit and health outcome. Even crazier, if you're able to take someone from the lowest 20th percentile of VO2 max to the top 5%, the difference in all-cause mortality, wait for it, is 410%. There is nothing else that comes close. It's the craziest thing that you can do is get people to do that. Now, one of the ways to do it is not just VO2, it's to train aerobic endurance, lactic threshold, VO2, and the last one, anaerobic capacity. Anaerobic capacity is like a 9 or a 10 on the rate of perceived exertion. And it's done with short intervals. As a test, it might be something like a 500-meter row. Something that lasts underneath 2 minutes, all out, all you got. In a training modality, it would be something like 15 to 45 seconds of work with equal to up to 3 or 4 times the rest interval. This is kind of where we've been kind of sneaking these in. If you guys have been doing the Saturday team workouts, that's what this is. Because think of what happens just in a team workout. You work out you go as hard as you can because it's your turn. You stop while your other 2 buddies take turns going, double the rest time, and you go back in again. So even without us putting it as like, we're doing anaerobic capacity work, that's been showing up once a week. That's all you need to do, that is once a week. This is also where it's a little different than traditional CrossFit, where it's like, just go. Most people are doing anaerobic capacity work for like 20 minutes. And this is why they get burnt out. It's like, that's not the intention behind those other ones. Last piece of this, is functional range of motion. And functional range of motion is likewise made up of 3 different categories. It's not just flexibility. The first one, though, is flexibility. Flexibility is just what you guys think it is. It is how the length of the muscle about a joint to be able to get the farthest end ranges of motion. That can be improved by training it through static stretching, active stretching, self-myofascial release, activation protocols. They all work to increase, even body work works to increase end ranges of motion. We shouldn't just stop there, though. We should also be working on mobility. And this is where I think that the community's gotten a little bit, they kind of use these terms interchangeably a little bit. What we're saying is flexibility is about increasing the end range of motion. We're saying mobility is the ability to work on and control those end ranges of motion. So flexibility, think about doing like your Spider-Mans, right? Mobility, we're thinking about doing like holding the bottom of a goblet squat for 30 seconds to a minute. Very, very actively. Trying to lift the arches of your feet. Trying to drive your knees out. Trying to pull your chest up. Trying to actively use your hamstring to pull yourself ass to ankles. If you guys have been following along, that stuff shows up in our warm-ups. So follow along in the lesson plans, and it's in there in the lesson plans. The last piece is stability. Stability is kind of, see how this kind of stems up, end range of motion, then control the end range of motion with load, mobility, and then stability. Now we're going to go load, end range of motion, but dynamically. We do stability work basically every single time we're training. When you're doing thrusters, you're doing an amazing, amazing test of stability. That full range of motion all the way below parallel to all the way overhead, under load, moving dynamically. So those are those kind of 3 things together. I'll just kind of lay this out quickly in terms of what it looks like for a week. We don't need to kind of dive down into this because you guys are going to be really familiar. This is how you guys have been training all along. But just see how it shows up a little bit. We have our strength days. You can see them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's our 4 days a week. We have our lower body push on Monday in a squat. We have our lower body pull on Friday in a dead. We have our upper body push on Wednesday in a bench press. We have our upper body pull on Tuesday in weighted pull-ups. This is what we've been doing a lot of. The strict weighted pull-ups are going to be in the phase that you guys are coming into. They're not necessary, but in the next phase of strength, you guys are going to see these things. The next one is we have those intentional levels of intensity. We haven't been labeling these, but they will start to be labeled. So you guys will start to see these things. We've been putting in RPE, but going forward in a little bit, we're going to be getting these actually called, here's our lactic threshold day. You can see that on Monday, we have a lactic threshold day. Tuesday's a VO2. Wednesday, we have muscle. We have lactic threshold again on Thursday, VO2, and then we have our anaerobic capacity on Saturday. That's a good individual workout. If we were to do this as teams, which you guys do a lot on Saturday, the teams take the place of that. And then on Sunday, you get your kind of end range and flexibility stuff. That's also where in the app, if you're following the app, we have our Sunday run day. It's what we are doing as a gym as well. We do Sunday run days as a gym. So not saying it's something you should do, but we believe in that long, slow distance day. So I'm going to pass this along to Cole. Cole's going to walk you guys through the totality of what this year is going to look like. So you guys are really set up. You know where we are, where we're going, and some of the whys behind it.
Yeah. All right. Hey guys. Really excited to talk about where we're going, and just with the better education around complete training and what complete fitness looks like, and really excited to have, walked through this programming roadmap for 2025 with the crew and the team. It's been really, really fun to set up. So with that, really the focus of 2025 and moving forward for complete training is to create forever athletes. It's not just programming to develop elite levels of fitness. It's this all-encompassing ability of getting complete fitness so that we improve our overall athleticism and we're able to attack and take on whatever challenges that we want to be able to take on in life. There's no doubt that your members are showing up in order to just be more capable in their life. They want to be able to do more. They want to be able to achieve more and experience more life and vitality. And so that's something that I'm like, we are really excited about, and the concept of like creating forever athletes that can endure, that can enjoy, and take part in life, and feel athletic today, tomorrow, and forever. So with that in mind, this was a lot of fun to create a structure behind, as we've talked about, we're big believers in structure, to develop structure behind our training and the training philosophy from year to year. So let's go over the training blocks. Really what this looks like is, because roughly 90%, I believe is the statistic, 90% of the population in the world lives above the northern hemisphere. So that's really kind of what we're working off of. But with that overview, what we're looking at is from each season, what can people be working on that will set them up to enjoy and maximize that season. Now, the really fun thing about that is it also really nicely marries and lines up with competitive seasons. And that there's no, it's not a coincidence. Those competitive seasons tend to line up that way because they're trying to also maximize the seasons and the temperatures and weather that come with those seasons. But so, for example, when we start off in winter, people are usually hunkering down. They're getting indoors. They spend a little bit more time with their family indoors, and there's also holidays, so people are eating more calories typically. And so this is a really great chance to work aerobic endurance and maybe put a little bit more of an emphasis on building some muscle size and muscle strength. The nice thing about that is those different modalities, if you put a little bit more focus on those, aerobic endurance and building muscle mass, also burn a little extra calories. So it kind of combats the calorie consumption that tend to come with the holidays. But also we're already indoors, we're doing those things. So it's a good chance to set up the rest of the season. And then you roll into the spring, people are starting to get outdoors. We've focused on gaining some muscle mass and some strength so that people can start enjoying the things that come with spring, like spring cleaning and outdoor activities and yard work, and really set them up for success in that way, as well as we start to get into the competitive season. So now let's take that fitness that we started to develop, the aerobic endurance, and let's peak the aerobic fitness, build some more explosive power so people can get outdoors and function and enjoy the pleasures that come with spring and summer, and so on and so forth. You'll continue to see this from summer to fall, getting out into summer and setting up people in a way that will allow them to enjoy the activities of summer. And I mean, we're talking about be able to go like water sport, go enjoy water sports, tubing and water skiing, wakeboarding, but then also enjoy the competitive season that's taking place in there. If they're wanting to jump into a marathon prep or go hiking and enjoy the outdoors, they have the strength and endurance to be able to do that. And so that's kind of the way that we are shifting in the seasonal training blocks to really set people up to enjoy their calendar year and the demands of the year that come with different seasons throughout the year. So with that, we've laid out the strength cycles for the rest of the year and roughly what those look like. And it, not to any surprise, these strength cycles are lined up to flow with the seasonal training blocks that I was just talking about, where in April, we're trying to develop explosive power, strength and explosive power. And like I said, when you get into the spring season, we want to be strong, we want to be explosive, we want to be able to start running and jumping and playing outside. And so that's what we're starting to develop in April, so that when the summer months hit, we can go full steam ahead and then really enjoy the outdoors to the max capacity. And then, May, you see the same thing, starting to lift heavier and really feel strong and confident in our abilities moving throughout the season. So you can see here the strength training cycles are really set up around the seasonal training blocks to maximize those adaptations that we're looking forward to enjoy the season. And then this was a lot of fun to put together, but this is our new 2025 benchmark list. It's taking a lot of thought around how can we best test around all 9 attributes of fitness, and really show people what having complete fitness looks like and feels like. Many of the things, so like when you see in April, we have an explosive power score, that's coming right off the back end of an explosive power strength cycle. And so we're really kind of setting that up well, as we've worked on some things. Hey, like this is a good chance to benchmark against that and see where's people's fitness, overall complete fitness is lining up. And this programming roadmap that Jameson has shared with you guys have the resources to. There's some common frequently asked questions that we get, and we can continue to further elaborate on this, but without going too much in depth into any one of these. What does Comptrain prepare me for? We're trying to prepare you for the ability to take on whatever challenge you want to take on. If you want to participate in the CrossFit season, the CrossFit Open, like heck yeah, like let's go. We're going to help prepare you for that. CrossFit has been such a foundational portion of our programming for such a long time, and continues to be. Some of their guiding principles tend to be. And then, hey, do you want to go do a high rocks? Do you want to go do a run and endurance race at some point in time in the season? Do you want to summit a mountain? Whatever it is, we want people to be and feel prepared for life, and the challenges that they want to take on. There is a set equipment list. You can absolutely modify workouts, and Ben has already touched on quite a bit on what kind of movements show up. We do have a competitors track. It's called the Open to Games track that could prepare people for the CrossFit Open, that have skill movements and skill building movements inside of the app, that people can get in there. And a lot of those workouts have been shared with you guys in your lesson plans when we have a variance in the Open to Games competitive track in those workouts. We share those with you guys, and we'll continue to do that. And then Ben touched on high school gymnastics and whatnot. So if you guys have any questions and you guys want to read deeper into those, definitely go check out this resource and read through those answers.
Cool. Thanks, man. Just along the way, Nuno asked a question about, we did Caitlin in February. In the doc, it says placed in April. Yeah, Nuno, we moved that. And the reason we moved that was because it has running in it. And for a lot of people, having a benchmark that has running in February, we realized wasn't optimal. Mm-hmm. So we moved it to April when more people have a better chance of doing running outside.
Yeah, and this is the programming benchmark sheet in particular. That's our benchmark sheet moving forward, realizing that this 2025 year was already underway and we were getting it out late already. And so a couple of those have shifted already, because like Ben said, Caitlin was in February. We will have a replacement for Caitlin in April this year because we've already done it. But generally, the benchmarks that's our benchmark cadence moving forward.
Yeah, Chad, Chad asked a great question. He's like, "What's your thoughts on sharing this document with our members?" Love it.
100%.
Like whether you put a link to this on your website, you could do that. Hey guys, here's how this is. Guys, you're part of us. You're a part of us. This is your asset. We're giving you this asset to use. This is our training methodology. Put this on your site. If you want to print it up and put it at your front desk, if you want to make a magazine out of it that you give to new members, like this is your tool to give to your members, whether it's the roadmap or the methodology or both, whether you review it through them in their on-ramping program when they're starting up, or you're just using it as a way to kind of like drip it in to your members all along. I will say that This is not the way we used to train at my gym. The average churn, as reported by Push Press and Two Brain, the average churn, meaning the average number of members that leave a gym in a month, is 10% in our industry. That means 10% of your members every month are walking out the door. We've worked really hard, and that's what we talk about in the immersion. We've worked really hard on lowering that. We got it down to about 4.5%, which is pretty darn good. It's like less than half of the average. Since we implemented this new training methodology, our churn, which we track every single month, is 1%. This is like when you start to do and share this with them, when you share the why behind what you're doing with them, they go, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. I love this. So please share this with them so they, just like you, understand what we're doing. Awesome, guys. That puts us up against it. So in terms of the time, awesome to have so many of you guys here. I'm going to reiterate this the first way I started, which is we're really excited about sharing this with you guys. Now it's your turn to turn around and share it with your coaches and your members in every which way that you possibly can. Second part of that is would love so much for you guys to be a part of the immersion program that we got going on. You guys have the link to that. Please come here and let us take even a deeper dive into all of the ways that we can lower churn, increase member retention, that we can work on paid ads and all the things business, from hiring and on-ramping coaches to retaining members to onboarding members. We've been doing this for a long time. We don't have all the answers, but I've made more mistakes than you have. I promise you that. So I can teach you about the mistakes I've made and where we are right now. So I'd love to see you guys there. On that, guys, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you guys for the time. Great to see you guys.
Thanks, guys. Reach out if you have any questions.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, guys.
We're actually looking into some translation stuff, so stay tuned.
Hey, Jay, good question. Jay, I'm going to share this call deck, and there is a link to the Circle community, which is where you're going to get access to all these tools, resources, and also you can invite your coaches from your gym to Circle as well. So Circle is the place for all the tools, all the comms, all the resources, all of those things. Somebody else had a question, I think.
Looking. CrossFit Unreal, if I miss, but next to the gymnastics, are there also weightlifting skills in the program? Snatches and clean and jerk are skills that members love to do and see progress, same as handstand push-ups. Love the question. When we are looking at what we can deliver to the members inside of a class structure, those tend to be limits. They tend to be barriers in people's fitness. It's absolutely something that we encourage, like, take the time to practice those outside of a conditioning piece, outside of the strength. But in order to maximize developing absolute strength in individuals and explosive power, we look at and really lean on the power lifts in order to maximize returns on strength. It is harder to engage maximal force production if we are working on movements that are creating barriers and people can't move with aggression and intensity. So we focus on the lower skill power lifts in order to get that strength. Now in the app, you will see if anybody is following along those app and those members want to, we do program some power snatch work, some power clean work, some clean and jerk, some push jerk, different things like that, but they tend to not show up in class settings in order to maximize people's times in a class setting.
No, same thing on the immersion, man. The link will be in this call deck, and there is a link inside of Circle already. So feel free to check that out. It's also just on the website. If you go to the events page, on the Comptrain website, you will see an event for the immersion, and you can read all about it there. But the link will be in Circle, and it'll be here. So Menno, the answer to that is yes. Chad and Murph are really outside of the community, are really, really big hero workouts that are for the entirety of the fitness community. So answer to that is yes, we still include those two in our benchmarks. The reason that we've adjusted the rest of our benchmarks, like Cole said, is because they're our own and we own them, and they're fully aligned with our season structure, our seasonal block structure, our strength cycle structure, and to test those 9 attributes of fitness that we've integrated into our structure. So that's the reason for the removal of those others. Murph and Chad are still in. Those are big community workouts that kind of are shared across the entirety of the fitness space.
Totally. And like you said, we're not against CrossFit. We're not anti-CrossFit. Like, we celebrate that, and we celebrate what those stand for. And especially when it comes to hero workouts, to take and honor those people who have, gone before us, paid ultimate sacrifices. So 100%. And I personally can't wait to do those with you guys. I'm really looking forward to that. Josh had a question.
Josh, Ben was just recently on Talking Elite Fitness, and maybe elaborated it a bit more on that podcast with Tommy and Lauren, I believe. So if you want to give that a listen, but happy to also send your question on to Ben. I think he already bounced, but happy to send that question on to Ben. Ben is also inside of Circle as well, so you can DM him in Circle. He's not in there as often as we are, but you're welcome to reach out to him there. Dennis, it's a good question, Dennis. I've looked into a handful of things for my coaches as well, but also I think the level 1 is awesome, and I would never tell someone to take it. So it's a dope training program. I think CrossFit has done a better job than anybody else in terms of coaching coaches and training trainers. So having the level one is great, whether you are an active affiliate or not. Those are different departments. Those are different things. So somebody can be a CrossFit level 1 and hold an OPEX certification and an NASM personal training certification and a CSCS all at the same time.
And they should be exploring other forms of education and continuing to further their education. Is something that we will always say, like, continue to gain knowledge, gain understanding. It's only going to make you a better coach and be able to equip you to better serve the members.
Totally. Josh, link to Circle will be in this call deck that will get sent out to everybody that was on this call. Actually, let me just click it right here. And now you guys have it.
Easy. Look at that.
All right, you got this, and the very first page has links to all this stuff. Cool, guys. That is really good to know.
Yes, we should touch base. We should connect.
Yeah, you are in Circle already, I think. If you'll send a DM to me with that note, that'd be awesome.
Satiko?
Satiko? Oh, well, I have to unmute you. We got to know. Hold on. Oh, how do I unmute you?
You should be able to hover over her screen and click unmute.
Okay, you can unmute yourself now, I think.
Yes, got it.
Nice.
Yes, my name is Sachiko, but everybody call me Sachi, but I can help you guys with the translation if needed.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sent you an email yesterday, Jamison, I think.
Yep.
Can we pass it along? Was it Nuno who said that? Yes.
Yeah.
Coach Nuno. Maybe connect those two together.
Yep. Totally.
I can.
Great to know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Cool.
guys. Well, thank you guys for the extra time and the extra questions. We appreciate you guys, and we're looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful 2025 with y'all.
Yeah, thanks for everything. We're getting super strong here.
Awesome.
Yeah, love to hear that. Yes. See you guys. Thank you.
See
Talk
ya.
to you soon, guys.
Bye bye.